Joining us now is journalist and editor Dianne Hawker, who was at the conference today to give us a further update. Dianne, good to see you. Before we get to the meat of the conversation, we understand that there was a delay in registration. What was the cause of the delay, and when did the event actually kick off?
Well, it took about 6 hours for the event to actually kick off. The initial speech was meant to have started around 9 a.m. and the ANC kept on updating the media to say that there were delays on the side of registration. We understand that part of the problem was as a result of load shedding. The venue where the delegate registration was happening apparently didn't have sufficient backup power, and the computers that were used for that process kept on switching off. Now, the reason why this is a problem and they couldn't just let the delegates enter is because this is a conference where votes will be counted. They needed to verify every single delegate who was carrying a card, a media card, was actually meant to be present. So that meant that they had to actually verify all 4,500 of the different delegates. Some of those branches were coming from quite far. South Africa is quite a vast country. So travel times from KwaZulu-Natal to Johannesburg, for example, are 6 hours. From Limpopo, 3 hours. And those who only left this morning arrived in the midst of this delegate registration issue. It ultimately was resolved and the speech began, but of course it wasn't a smooth ride for President Ramaphosa as he gave that political report.
I'll come back to you, Dianne. Let's just hear what Ramaphosa did say at the event.
The 54th conference gave us a clear mandate to unite and to renew the African National Congress. In the last 5 years, we did much to pursue a strategy of unity, rejuvenation, and renewal. We reaffirm our conviction that the strength, unity, and coherence of the ANC is necessary for the advancement of the interests of the people of South Africa and for building a national democratic society. We therefore do not pursue this process of renewal of the ANC for its own sake. We pursue it because its importance continues at the expense of the support that we should get from the people of South Africa. Because when our people see us disunited,
we needed to cut the speech down a bit. What was the meat of his speech, if I may ask, Dianne? That's one part of the question. And the other part would be, he was heckled quite a lot. What were the issues being raised by delegates?
Well, absolutely. You had to cut the speech down. I think all the journalists who were in attendance were also quite frustrated over the length of the speech. It took more than 2 hours for the president to go through that speech. It was about a 30-page document, and one can understand why it was quite lengthy. It's a political report of the last 5 years of his presidency. So it touched on various things. A lot of it looked at the work that the ANC had done in government. Of course, the president did say that the ANC government had to do more because there were challenges such as load shedding, challenges with unemployment, where there has been some improvement in the last year, but the numbers have not been great over the past 5 years, if you look at it in totality. You've also got issues of infrastructure challenges in South Africa. For example, the passenger rail agency is struggling significantly to ensure that public transport is available through the rail service. And those were all kinds of issues that the president touched on in that lengthy speech. But before he even got to the point of speaking, as you mentioned, there was quite a lot of heckling, mainly from members of the KwaZulu-Natal delegates, but it wasn't only them who were heckling him. The biggest disruption came in when the former president, Jacob Zuma, walked in with a large contingent from KwaZulu-Natal. And then you started hearing people chanting Zuma's name and also chants for change coming from the crowd. There was criticism of Gwede Mantashe, who is the ANC national chairperson. people complaining about load shedding, and some delegates also just being concerned about the fact that they didn't receive T-shirts in their packs. So these are the kind of issues that will obviously play into the choice of the next government, the next leadership within the ANC. The program was so heavily delayed that the ANC actually has moved part of that program over to tomorrow. So we have quite a lot to see still from this 4-day conference.
The first day started off, it was delayed significantly. Do you see that happening for the next days? What do you expect to see in terms of organization of the events?
Well, South African journalists have a little bit of a running joke or commentary about the ANC, unfortunately. A lot of their conferences don't begin on time, and there's a lot of hurry up and wait. You hurry up, you get to the venue, and then you wait for things to start. And that's likely to be what unfolds over the next few days. The program from today, they only got through about half of that program. The program from tomorrow still has to deal with voting credentials. So that's to confirm that the various candidates who come from the different branches actually are the correct people, and that they have the correct number of people voting in the different provinces and from the different branches. Once they've gone through that credentials process, which can take quite a lot of time, they also have to look at the party's financial report. And we're expecting that one's going to be also quite topical. It's a behind the doors session, but we do know that the party has got financial issues at this point. It has been struggling to pay its staff, for example, for the past year. And then, of course, they are going to also have an organizational report and a report from the Integrity Commission, which is meant to look at the ongoing Phala issue. All of that is meant to go to unfold before any nominations actually take place. So the nominations, which were actually set down for 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock this evening, will only take place tomorrow. And as a result, we're likely to only see delegates starting to vote either late tomorrow night or even on Sunday morning. And
we certainly we look forward to a whole lot of events, and we are looking forward to having you come on the news and subsequent programs to give us updates on what's going on. Thank you very much, Dianne, for speaking with us on the news.
Thank you.